So I've been arguing back and forth with myself on how to cover this story. Do I do it the unbiased, here are the facts way that I was taught in school when I was learning how to be newsy? Or do I present it with the incredible bias and just absolute bafflement at the situation that I have as a person? So in the description box below, I will leave an article linked that is on the Toronto Star, but it's actually a Canadian Press story that is generally bias free, because I don't know that I can get through this one without portraying how confused I am. As a person with a very intense, I guess you would call it, physical disability, like I cannot stand at all, I don't travel really. It seems like so much work and so much effort that I'm not willing to put into it until I have to. Like you have to figure out if the hotels and the places you're going and how accessible the area is that you're going. And I can call and ask, but sometimes able-bodied people's version of accessible doesn't actually line up with what we would call accessible. And it's such a situation. And honestly, getting there is half the battle. Transportation is such a big issue for people who are disabled, especially those of us who cannot weight bear at all. So that's kind of why this Via Rail story confuses me so much. So Via Rail is the cross-country train service in Canada, if you didn't know. I have never ever used it because, and I apologize for this, I've never heard a positive thing about Via Rail, especially from my disabled friends. How I understand it is Via trains have one wheelchair spot. Just one. And you book the wheelchair spot, they tie your chair or your mobility device or anything down. If someone else with a mobility issue books that spot, basically it's like, who is more disabled? And the person that is deemed less disabled has to fold up their mobility device, put it where the luggage goes, and I guess walk to a seat on the train. There is no other option. And then I've also heard many stories of, the mobility device getting damaged in the luggage storage area. So basically what I'm trying to say is it just seems like a mess, which is hilarious because in Ontario, we have the GO train service, which obviously isn't cross-country, but it takes you many places throughout the province. And on GO, there's a accessible cart. You've seen GO trains often on my channel in my videos because that's how I get from, wherever to Toronto. And there's a whole accessible cart and all the seats flip up. So you could probably fit 10, 12 wheelchairs in the accessible cart there. So it blows my mind that Via, what goes cross-country, only has one accessible spot. So basically the story here is there is a married couple, I believe they're from Toronto, their names are Marie and Martin, and they both have cerebral palsy, and they both use a motorized scooter, and obviously they're married. They want to travel together. They can't really do that because there's only one accessible spot on Via trains. So they're fighting Via to get them to put a second wheelchair spot. Canadian Transportation Agency has actually ruled now that every train needs to have 2 tie-down spots for wheelchairs. Yay! Question mark? I say question mark because that seems like a very small victory. Technically they won, but still only 2 spots. And it's funny because after that ruling came out, Via actually tried to fight them. And they said that they plan to create 2 tie-down spots on one of their 3 classes of trains. So they have 3 types of trains. One type of train was going to have 2 tie-downs, and it was only going to be on one specific route. Via seems to think that was enough. So here, as the article continues, basically Via has been fighting this ruling and fighting this couple to not have to have 2 wheelchair spots. Doesn't this whole story just sound like not enough? Doesn't it sound ridiculous that it's this whole big battle between should Via have 1 spot or 2? Via should have more than 2 spots. There should be, like on GO trains, there should be a cart or somewhere where seats flip up or move or something so that you can have many wheelchairs in that spot. And what I really don't understand is it's not like the disabled people don't have money. We have money. Our money is just as good to Via as an able-bodied person is. So this whole battle here doesn't make sense to me. I totally commend this couple for their fight to get 2 spots. But at the same time, if they win and they go on a trip together, that means no other person with a mobility device can go on that train because they're there together unless somebody folds up their device and puts it in the luggage cart. So this whole time I've been kind of looking for a Via statement you would think that they would put out like a written statement in their defense. And as of me shooting this video right now, I can't find a statement from VIA explaining why they don't want 2 spots. What this just looks like is just VIA doesn't either, maybe they don't want to put the money in, maybe it's a huge cost to add the 2nd spot or more than 2 spots. Maybe they just don't want to do it, but I can't, as of me shooting this video, I can't find any kind of self-defense from VIA. And I even reached out to them myself, but I'm just me, so I never heard back. And I don't see one here in the Toronto Star's article about it, and they would definitely have it, right? So I am not sure. Fortunately, like I said, the CTA has ordered that VIA will either allow for 2 wheelchair tie-downs on all trains by the beginning of next year, by January 3rd, or they can submit a claim of undue hardship, which I find hard to believe because, you know, VIA makes so much money. This whole thing doesn't make sense to me, and I kind of want your opinion on it. Why do you think VIA is so against having more than 1 wheelchair spot? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this story. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!